And it's like for them, it's always we're going through a tough time. But and us, like you are a big company. Do you think we are not? we are not struggling. Come on, bruh. We are all struggling.
Yeah.
Let's just share the bread.
Welcome back to yet another episode of Off the Record with myself, Shona Ngava, Michael Kayunde, and Vernon the Namapapi. We took a very long extended break and we are back here to actually talk to you and entertain you like we normally do. If you are new to the channel, Off the Record is a podcast that focuses on entertainment business in Namibia. Basically how corporates run the industry, how artists should work on their brand management, brand communication, and so many other aspects of the entertainment industry. How are you guys doing? And we haven't seen each other in a while.
Been busy.
COVID is causing a lot of havoc. How are you guys taking care of yourselves, man?
Just trying to be at home more, work from home, work remotely.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, and just trying to keep safe.
Trying to take care of the mental health as well, because these are crazy times, bruh, and just busy, but we are here to do what we like to do.
You guys,
our things.
Are you vaccinated, or are you thinking about it?
I got my first dose, so I'm gonna get 2 more.
I'm yet to get vaccinated, but I am going to be vaccinated.
Please,
Same here.
please.
I think what I want to do is also just do a bit of more research on on the different vaccines and how
which one I'm getting and all of that. So I'm there. And
you guys did the DJ Spooza interview.
Loved it.
That was big.
It was dope.
What are your thoughts on that? I feel like people expected Spooza to be a very
arrogant,
chill, or very stupid artist, but then he's a very street smart and business smart guy.
I wouldn't say like I personally know him, but I've written about him. I know I have his number. I follow him on social media.
We can call him anytime, basically.
Yeah, definitely. So I sort of know that he's actually wise, but I was also like, I didn't know you being wise and just smart about what you do. It's at this level. So I was really impressed. It was a very nice conversation. We should actually, sit again and just
Actually, a lot of people were surprised at how humble he was, and he's a really humble dude, in person, in business, interviews, always carries himself well, respects other people. So shout out to Spooza for coming through, just showing us love and just being, the guy, man, being a genuine, that was a really great interview. And I just like, talking about things that don't have to do with albums and funny things, just, chopping it up. And I really loved how he opened up about his fatherhood and just, showed us a different side of DJ Spooza.
All right, so right off the bat, I want us to jump into one of the most crucial elements of any music industry, and that's record labels.
Yes,
so I did a bunch of calls in the industry. I had to do some research for this specific episode. And what I found out was quite very surprising. Firstly, I used to think Namibian artists do not own a considerable amount of their masters or their albums from way back in the day, especially those artists from the 2003 to 2012 era. I used to think they don't own most of their albums, because they had investors who used to pump music into the industry. But I actually found out that most of them bought back their music rights, they own their music rights, but just to keep the chat very short, what happens in the industry in terms of record labels or just how artists own their masters is that most of the time, artists, when they want to produce an album, because an album to produce itself is such an expensive process, what they would normally do is they would go to, let's say, an investor. In music, we'll call that a publisher. And then the publisher pumps music into the album or whatever it is that the artist wants to work on, and they take 50% of whatever is made based on the agreement. But by law, from what I found out, by law, a publisher normally would take 50% of whatever they invest into an artist. So those are some of the things that I actually found out, and it was very interesting for me. Some names popped up in the industry as well. Some influential publishers or guys who've really invested in the industry at its earliest stages, at its infancy. Guys like Robert Chipanga, those guys invested in, Exit and Mushe. Then you have your John Walenga with Omalaiti, PDKs and Tatabudis.
Yeah.
You have Sula. Sula owns Okoba Butterfly, so Galavel. So these were very influential guys at the start of the industry. There's another record label called RC Ghetto Records, if I'm correct. And every single artist at the start of the industry, most of them would know. I think Sunny Boy, King TD, and Gaza. These guys are, I think they invested in those early albums of these guys.
Yeah.
So it was very interesting for me how the industry operates. Most of the time, it's not even people who are in the industry who invest into the industry. It's businessmen, it's other people. I also found out that the business model is different for different artists. In the Ovirisha element, the manager owns
the artist manager.
Yeah, artist manager owns the record label, and he also is the sole proprietor in terms of like the
rights
of the music. So he's the publisher, he owns the record label as well, and he's the manager.
He's probably also credited as the songwriter.
Probably even. So
These guys are exploiting people.
I don't know, man. It had me thinking in terms of like, why would an artist even sign in today's era? Why? At the start it made sense, but now it doesn't make sense anymore.
I personally don't think we need record labels anymore, like in the entertainment space, in Namibia specifically, because of just how things have changed. You don't need a record label to get you, interviews for the media, distribution or whatever. Like you can literally do that by yourself and just your friend. So that's why I feel like anything that the record label used to do back in the days, you can actually do it today with your manager. So I don't feel like we are still there where an artist needs a label to elevate. I mean, there are still going to be those situations where an artist is going to benefit from being signed to a record label. But for the most part of it, I feel like even the artists who are popping right now in our entertainment space in Namibia, most of them are not signed to a record label. So it just goes to show you can actually do it on your own. You don't need a record label.
Yeah, man. As a label exec, I still feel like we need record labels, and one of the reasons is the fact that if it comes with the artist manager, and I strongly, suggest that every record label, because most record labels, they don't have proper artist managers, they don't have proper A&Rs. All they have is somebody that will maybe book you for an event, somebody that will put money into you. But a lot of labels don't have artist managers that will get you the interview. So unless you are just somebody that likes to make your music, focus on your music, you can sign to a label for the management part, the funding, and the artist development. Another important thing that a lot of labels in Namibia don't actually focus on, which is the A&Rs. Most labels don't have A&Rs, and A&Rs focus on the artist. They don't care about the booking, they don't care about the funding, they focus on the artist. They are developing the artist, nurturing the artist, their brand, even the artist as a person, and how they grow musically. That's why you'll see where some artists, they will make the same, they will sound like 2010 for the next 10 years ahead.
Okay, what are your thoughts on Kaboyga Makili?
Perfect example of, I really don't think Shasho has an A&R. I don't know what kind of record label or what kind of deal he has with Shasho, but if he signed under whatever label.
Do we even know that he's signed under Shasho, because
that was the announcement.
Relationship,
Because if you look at Kaboyga Makili, he's a perfect example of an artist that was signed for popularity but wasn't nurtured as an artist to grow.
You're making it seem like he's not talented. He's very much talented.
Exactly, that's why he was signed, because of popularity. He's talented. Like we all know he's talented.
The talent or the popularity?
Which one is it now?
Both.
Okay.
Both. But like what I'm trying to say is, we haven't seen Kaboyga grow as an artist.
Yeah.
in terms of the music he's making, same type of freestyles he was doing on Twitter or on social media, it's still the same type of music he's putting out. So how is he growing as an artist? It's been like 2 years.
Yeah.
So what I also found out, some artists buy back their masters.
Yeah.
But another interesting
But that's
thing
the thing also, maybe we'll talk about it
in the future.
In the future, about, you know, buying your masters and stuff like that, you know, because people also need to understand that, you know, buying your masters or owning your masters does not actually guarantee success.
Doesn't.
You know,
Some always.
sometimes if you get a perfect distribution deal, it's, you know, you are actually going to be better off having someone sell.
A lot of
your
artists
music for them
around
better.
the world don't even own most of their masters.
Exactly, but you know, there's this narrative of people wanting to own their.
But I think in this era of streaming, it's important to own your masters because your music will be streamed forever. That's why guys like Gaza, King TD are now putting their old albums back on the digital
It's
platforms.
actually interesting that you bring that up because throughout my research, I found out that majority of the time, because most artists don't own their masters,
Yeah.
they either have to go back to the guy who invested in your early, you know, pre-digital
publishers,
platforms. You go back to that guy and you tell him, you know, give me my masters so that I can put it online. Either you can be blocked, or the artist either buys out their masters. It's something very interesting. That's why we don't see a lot of early Namibian music on online platforms, because most artists don't own their masters.
Yeah.
The other guys who invested in the artists, they own the masters. The publishers own the masters. Secondly, interesting enough, if let's say a corporate wants to use an artist's music or whatever for an advert, they also need to go back to the
That
publisher.
guy,
So
yeah.
the guys really making the money are the publishers.
Yeah, but this guys
Invested in the
you know,
industry, so yeah.
So because when they did these things, artists were probably just going to the studio. They were not paying for studio time. They were taking care of all of these things. So now it's their time to sort of like get on there.
While we are on labels, why do you guys think everybody, there's always artists leaving a label and it's always controversial? Why do you guys think these guys are always running away from labels?
That model is outdated. There's always going to be beef. That's why I'm saying you do not need a record label in today's, because
You can't be that harsh and say you don't need. I'll say this: you might need you might need a record label if you can't afford studio time, guys. $2,000, $3,000. That's the average price for big artists in the country.
Yeah.
And they produce what? They have 12 songs on an album. That's a lot of money that you're pumping into an album.
Yeah.
You still need to factor in that you need to do promo, you need to do marketing, you need to print the CDs and all these things. So it's still very expensive in its nature. Secondly,
that's the thing.
Secondly,
Why do you want to print CDs?
some of us like to keep collector's
Sentimental
items.
value.
Yeah.
Secondly, I think the reason why an artist should sign to a record label is there's like record labels also they have like a certain reputation, and they come with like a co-signing element that builds an artist's profile in the industry. So that helps, like with association. It helps with like strategic partnerships, things like that are very important as well. And secondly, the record labels, some record labels, I'm not sure if they really do that. They cover costs for music video shoots, they handle your PR, and so many other things that you can actually do on your own. But if you are too busy or you don't really know how the industry works, maybe you can sign. I've always been a don't sign to a record label guy.
Also, if you sign, make sure it's a year contract. Like I always advise artists, a year, renewable every year. So if you're not happy, then you know my contract ends at the end of the year, or the label also knows this artist's contract ends at the end of the year. Let's just do what we need to do, and then
And also,
1 year
we don't
contracts.
have a lot of like protection for artists in terms of music law. Like,
But Spuza was talking about NASCAR being there for him throughout all
but
this.
I'm saying there isn't really like a law or like a legislative process that actually helps in terms of like. I've seen a lot of artists
Suffer.
They suffer.
Yeah.
And if you go through their contracts, most of them are actually being exploited.
But I think another important thing that we tend to leave out in these conversations is just the artists themselves making sure that they educate themselves about how the industry works, the business side of things, as well as just the production. I think people speak a lot about how you need to get someone who's going to handle the business side of things. Yes, that is going to
Impact or like
and also just the brand is going to grow because as an artist you are going to focus on making the music. But it's important that you also know a bit of what's going on with your brand business wise.
Facts.
So you need to study so that you know how your business is being run, not entirely just trusting someone to handle your business.
Mike?
No.
Anything else?
Enough said.
Okay. Off the bat, what are some of your not favorite record labels that you think did an okay job? I'm thinking of Omalaiti, GMP, Shasho, Tentable King, Silly Boss Madame Productions. Like, what are some of the record labels that you would say have had a very decent run in the industry? And lastly, Empire signs with, or RTE signs with Empire, Gaza signs with Universal. How does this impact the industry? Just those two topics and then we can keep it moving.
It depends, man. When it comes to this specific partnerships, the record labels that you just mentioned, GMP with Universal and the other one with
RTE Empire.
RTE with Empire. The Empire one, I know that there's going to be some form of workshops that producers are going to be open to attend that and stuff like that, so they can get knowledge from that. Other than that, sometimes these things do not necessarily have to benefit the industry. Sometimes it's just really just the record label in question that is benefiting from these partnerships. And people also need to let go of this thing of everyone who's going to do so well internationally or whatever. It needs to benefit the entire industry. It shouldn't be like that. Sometimes it's just a personal win. And as the people in the industry, we just need to support them. So if GMP is doing well with, but I think that was way back, right? That was way back.
I think it was for the Pumumu album, maybe. We don't know what the distribution deal was, whatever deal that was even.
So sometimes we can just be like, okay, well done,
Sharp. It's not good for the industry.
It doesn't have to be for the industry all the time, guys.
I don't think there are any labels. Okay, there are some that are doing an okay job, but most labels in this country are ran by artists. And if a label is ran by an artist, one thing I can tell you is that that artist will not put in the same effort and the work that they put in themselves.
But
in the artist.
I understand now.
Actually,
Now that I did my research, I understand because
you have to understand. An artist, if I have a publisher, let's say pumping in 100,000 into my career,
It's always them first.
I need to make back
that
money, break even, and make profit.
Where is Jail? Why is DJ Shows are still dancing for Gaza?
I forgive Gaza now.
I understand.
What happened to Young T? What happened to Cowboy?
Most of these artists are not profitable.
but guys, I feel like
Why are artists leaving RTE?
What did
What
they
did they
do?
do?
come on, man.
I feel like that's just
it's partnership.
That you should
and
KP probably also in terms of his
personal
knowledge of the industry.
But I don't think it was. I feel like KP would have been at that stage.
I think the co-sign did him some good though. I think that's what these guys are good for. Just here and there co-sign. But as label execs, they're doing the bare minimum.
My advice to an artist who wants to sign with a record label, if you do sign, make sure that you get a lawyer to go through the papers before you actually sign. Second, have goals, set out objectives for whatever deal you sign. If it's an album, if it's 3 music videos, if it's 5 radio interviews, have it on paper, so that by the time that you are done signing for a record label, we've actually seen you do something in the industry. Most people just sign. And then it's crickets. I can mention a record label right now who does that. It's been crickets. What are you guys doing?
Who?
No, I'm not going to mention.
No, you said you can mention names.
All these record labels who signed artists in the past 6 months or 7 months, it's been crickets. What are you doing with your artists? Let us know what you've been up to. It's crickets. You're just signing.
Why are artists leaving your label? Where are some of these artists that are signed under you? Let's move on.
All right, so I think we are done in terms of record labels and how record labels work in the industry. I think now I've holistically understood why some artists push themselves and why they don't push, or record label owners who are artists, why they push themselves and they don't push the artists under them. It's basically a business move. I'm not going to push Mike, if Mike won't make me 20,000, it just doesn't make sense. Come on my song once in a while, Mike, that's cool. And I understand that's how the industry works. But I also feel like now we need to address the corporates, man. I feel like the corporates did not listen.
They didn't listen.
The first time we dropped a corporate video, you guys listened. I think I got about 6-7 calls from different corporates in the country who really were interested in like, who can we work with in terms of this. I have a campaign that I need to work. I need an artist that I need to
charge for that. Also.
Yeah,
consultancy. We're doing this.
That's the thing. I think I'll do that. But I actually love that. As soon as the corporates watched that episode, they started making calls like, no, I have a campaign that is going to be where and where. What type of artists can I, bring on? Some of you artists need to pay me because I put Yao on. But that's the thing, man. But right now, what I'm seeing is we are regressing. We are taking a step back. Corporates are now setting a very bad precedent for the industry. We are setting a very bad example. I'm talking to NWR. I'm talking to Namibia breweries.
Why?
NWR, okay. NWR set out a proposal, a call for proposal. They're asking for influencers to, send proposals on how they can maybe promote their whatever product or whatever it is that NWR does. We know what NWR does. But the reason why I'm angry is you ask influencers to use their resources to push your content. You may potentially make a lot of millions from this, but you are not considering paying them. And I understand we're in a panorama, we're in a pandemic, and you guys are, business is tight. But we also need to
pay our bills, man.
Consider that the influencers also put a lot of money into their personal brands, into their brands. And they also need to give some form of quality to their audiences. But when you come in and you decide you're not going to give them money, but you're going to give them free accommodation, free this, free that, it's still not enough because these people have bills to pay. Yeah. That's my beef with NWR, and we love you. We'd love to work with you. Don't take this personally. Secondly, Namibia breweries have a can design competition that's going on right now, and I think they have a grand prize of 10,000 Namibian dollars. And then secondly, you win a case of beer or cases of beer. I don't know.
Is that the second prize?
Yeah, some of the prizes.
Or some of the prizes.
And some weekly prizes that they're giving away. Yeah. But my beef is, look, this is a big company. They make millions of dollars. I think last year you might have made close to 800 million Namibian dollars. I'm speaking under correction. Why are we as NBL under Windu Klaga, I think it's Windu Klaga, why are we giving away $10,000 for people who are going to design cans that, are potentially going to make you millions?
Yeah.
And I understand that there are some terms and conditions, like whoever designs those cans gets a lifetime mention that you did this. But pay these people, and when I'm saying pay these people, I'm talking in the areas of 100,000, because you can make that money back in maybe 3 days. Why are we giving people $10,000? Why are we exploiting creatives like this in an industry where creatives are already exploited?
Is it check, ne? These call outs, like when they make these call outs for everybody to submit, these are loopholes to kind of exploit these people. Because if you go straight to Michael, who is a creative graphic designer, then Michael will have his price, which is probably 50K, because it's NWR, this is a global brand. And then if NWR goes to Maria Nepembe, then Maria Nepembe will have her rate. That's why they are making a call out for everybody else. You see what I'm getting at?
But what I'm still getting,
these call outs are a loophole.
I get where you're coming from, and I also do not support the principle that creatives needs to just create content, and then in exchange of that they just get free stuff. But it depends now what situation or what campaign it is.
Yeah.
The NW1 in particular.
That makes sense.
I feel like the NW1 in particular, I feel like, and they say they are not in the perfect state now financially.
They want to understand.
Yeah.
So I feel like that one, it's understandable because they are not forcing. So if you believe that as a creative, you need to be paid for your content, you don't apply for that NWR thing. But I believe there are so many people out there who would just go to a normal NWR resort and still snap without NWR paying them. So I feel like that one I can give them a pass, man, because we do that all the time. We are proud to be Namibians. You know, my Namibia, my pride, or whatever. So whenever you are at a, nice NWR resort, you are sort of like subtly reminded to just snap and tag NWR.
Yeah.
We do that for free anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
So if you feel like, no, my brand is too big for me to be tagging them, then don't apply for that one in particular. But I do agree with the principle that creatives need to be paid, not just this exchange
Barter
of,
agreements.
And I actually love that the people who were actually complaining about some of these exploitative measures or some of these campaign strategies were actually people from like the ordinary content viewer or like the ordinary guy who's on the street. And
Really, I feel like
not even the influencers.
I feel like it was the
Oh,
other
what do you
way
mean?
around. I
it was
feel like it
okay.
influencers
A few
were
influencers
complaining.
also complained, but
And-
what I love is that a lot of
Yeah.
Twitter people actually came through and then they bashed some of these corporates for what they were doing.
Yeah.
So those are the things that I'd love to see more often. But please, man, what I see now is that two big corporates have already done this.
Yeah.
The next 6, 7 are gonna be like, wait, they're doing this at these other two corporates.
Yeah.
So
Let's also do this because now it sets a very bad example. Compensate the people, and you actually get much better quality for what you actually would have paid for. Basically, just compensate creatives for what they do.
And it's like for them, it's always we're going through a tough time. But and us, like you are a big company. Do you think we are not? we are not struggling. Come on, bruh. We are all struggling.
Yeah.
Let's just share the bread.
So bottom line is, please let's pay our creatives by
And not COVID prices,
yeah,
please.
and not COVID prices, because it takes so much to make content. Hey, so it's
All right, we spoke about record labels. We spoke about
Corporates again. Hopefully they listened.
Now I want to talk to the creatives. I want to talk to as well as musicians or the ones in the industry who really sometimes need a lot of connections to get whatever it is that they are working through to the public.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest misconception in Namibia when it comes to the media or us in the media is that we are very difficult people to access. I know, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I know an artist who signed to a record label that's no longer existent.
And stop giving artists my number, bro. Like honestly, email me, please. This guy keeps giving everybody my number.
Chill, dog, chill. But the reason why I'm bringing this up is useful. The reason why I'm bringing this up is because I don't think a lot of artists in the country or creatives know that it's actually very
Easy, yeah.
to access us and to get us to actually, speak about them.
Nah, it's not easy to access me.
What do you mean it's not easy, dog? I can literally slide into your DMs. I can slide into your DMs and it's
But I
done.
don't open those every
But,
time. dog.
but I'm asking them,
Yeah.
how can we as creatives, or like how can we be more accessible to these people?
Most of the entertainment, not only entertainment, but media personalities actually have their email addresses as well as their handles to all the other platforms. So reaching us isn't the problem. It's maybe making an impression
Yeah.
for me to respond to the link that you send. But sometimes people also just send a link. What now? Or you're just sending an email, but in that email there's no email body, you're not even greeting me, you're just sending me a link like that. So I'm not gonna follow, I'm not gonna open that and check what it is. But if you are more a bit just professional, you greet, just simple things have in that email body, state what the email is about, and then you greet, you say, okay, this is what I'm
Be
writing
professional,
for,
yeah.
this is the link, then I'll check you out. Because I feel like that's what they do.
Stop spamming media influencers or what is it, journalists with your content, because
Especially in the DMs.
trust us, we've seen your stuff. We've seen your stuff. We'll get back to you.
Yeah.
Sometimes we even listen and it's not that good enough. So, but anyway, one thing I've noticed is that a lot of radio stations, especially like
Yeah.
we at NastFM are the only ones that have send music to us, email, on our social media, book interviews, and just how you can book interviews. But most radio stations or media houses in Namibia don't have the how-tos, and they don't put out the access. There might be that say the general email might be, sometimes it's not even on their social media. Sometimes it's not even there. But shout out to those of you that have the important, contact details. But for media houses, just make sure you put out how artists can book interviews, how artists can send music, or how artists can reach you for certain things. Because
you guys like to spoil these people.
No.
Why can they not just do their own research? Why should it be the media?
And also, like,
I'm just saying the media should make sure that the details are out there.
And also,
I believe my number is in the paper every day, bro, and I don't.
I wanna bring this up as well.
Yeah.
If you want to be on the podcast, if you want to be on his show, if you want to be on his newspaper articles or whatever, please make sure that when you come to me, you also know what I'm about.
Yeah.
Respect me as a media influencer. Respect me as a media practitioner. Some of you come and you are like, yo, what is that podcast of yours called? And you want me to bring you on the podcast.
Yeah.
So let
You
us
don't
respect.
even know my platform.
Let us respect each other.
Yeah.
Let's wash each other's hands. Let's try and compensate each other for the type of work that we do, and also clap hands for each other. Some of you don't even share our articles when we do this stuff, and it's a lot of work, painstaking work that goes into us actually putting up articles and interviewing and whatever. You just come just
No, Shona.
Now that you've mentioned this, a lot of people artists have asked for interviews. Right now, we're not doing interviews. We're just trying to educate people on how the industry works. We're just friends having a casual industry conversation. But when we do have artists on here, it's just to, also talk for them to educate people on how their creative process is, or how they work, how their lives are. But we will get to a point where we'll do artist interviews, and then you can reach out for that. And also, while I'm on that, there are certain people like Michael. You send your songs to Michael. What will Michael do if you don't tell him that I'm working on this album? This is the story I want to put out, but you just want Michael to listen to your
You know how many
music.
people are sending us songs every other day? We have 45 other artists, or like 100 artists even per month, who are sending us, make your project stand out. Send us. I think it's important that we discuss things like media kits. Have a media kit with your artist biography. Have your portfolio. Have your biography or whatever it is that we need to know about you. Even what you did in 2003 when you were a child. Give us all the information so that we have a lot to work with. And just reach out to art. When you reach out to us as creatives, us as artists, us as media influencers.
Yeah.
Have your stuff together so that we make it easier to put you out there. Now you are sending us one song and you want us to do a whole 2-page spread on that, but we don't even know who you are, we don't know where you came from. So send us all your details, your social media details, and everything else that will make whatever it is that we need to do for you juicy and much better. And also do your research on the people that you want to be interviewed by. That's just easy. I know a lot of artists, I know a lot of people think that we're trying to be celebrities when we do this, but it's mutual respect.
Facts.
Another thing also is when dealing with the media, image is very important. So make sure that in the media kit that he's speaking about, you have everything there.
Quality.
Not your selfie or whatever. Book a studio, because this happens, guys. Like, I work for a newspaper, and an artist will send me a selfie
to publish in the
from
paper.
WhatsApp, even, like, what am I supposed to use a selfie?
Y'all don't even have email addresses. That's even how bad it is, bro. That's how bad it is.
Yeah, that's how bad it is.
When you respond to me, don't respond to me via WhatsApp. Send
But you're giving people my number to send music, and the same artist that he gives my number send me their music on WhatsApp that I have to play on radio.
Like, I'm actually considering just my current number. I'll let it be for work, and then I'll get another one, because that one now, it's like so many people know it, and it's not private anymore. And I feel like WhatsApp should be like a private space.
All right, so to wrap up the episode, just your final
this
thoughts,
was long.
quick, and then we can call it a day.
Shout out to Ethnics. I think they have 2 of the biggest songs in the country right now, running everything. Open Up. Oh, that song is big. Also, once again, record labels, please know what you need to do. Know what your duties are. And artists, like Shona said, paperwork, contracts are important. Go through your contract. Know what you want as the artist from the label, and ask only that. If they offer you other balloons and things, tell them you don't need that. You just want what you want. Yeah, pop those balloons.
Man, I'm just thankful for today's episode. Just catching up. We haven't spent time together in such a long time. But other than that, also just the artists, they just need to do the right thing. I know right now it's difficult because of the times that we're finding ourselves in, but just like, you know, a shout out to Ethnics also. Just like Ethnics is doing, you know, they are still finding a way to remain relevant in these difficult times. And that's what we should be doing. We just want more music to carry us through the pandemic.
And for me, my shout out goes out to Kevin Maro. Y'all let an R&B guy give you on a hip hop song. Shout out to Waters.
I think that's the hottest hip hop song out right now.
So I think that's a very dope song.
What do you guys think of KP Ile's parody song?
I feel like KP Ile is looking for an okay. Still, it's a dope song, but I feel like he's looking
dope?
for that. Okay. It's a nice song. I like it.
It sounds like those big. Yeah, it's a parody song. I don't know if it's like.
It's a dope song, but I feel like he's in that okay bubble for me. Maybe we need to talk about it with him, but I don't know. But I just feel like
next episode
he's chasing that okay song. But quite a lot of achievements for the podcast. Shout out to Renat Mahali, Forbes under
30 under 30. Our stylist.
He's making millions, so I think
he needs to sponsor the show.
So I think he does very well. And luckily we have him on board. We have Cutting on board. We have also now Vinyls now. Shooting at Vinyls, they've got a very cozy place. I like the
space, man.
I like that it's a very it has a lot of musical history up in here. Not just international, also some Namibian projects. So do make some time and check out what we have here at Vinyls and here at the podcast. Do let us know what you think of the podcast. Once again, shout out to Cut and On, shout out to Renat Mahali. He did very well for himself. Forbes 30 under 30. Peace out.